the play for a scene to finish that film and finish the story. It's like Mad Libs or something with AI. So that's what we're kind of workshopping here, figuring out. So I don't know how to use.
Well, one of the things that's very interesting is that you have the colors of slime, but they also make all these little charms, and the charms are adorable, they're characters, sometimes they're holiday, or just like funny comets and rainbows and stuff like that. And so an idea is to be able to use them and slime on the tabletop, kind of assemble a frame, like a first or last frame.
Yeah, like maybe
Yeah.
like a stop motion
Yeah.
short film.
And then
With
like
AI,
set it free in
Set it free.
Gen 3 or something.
Give it life.
Cool.
Yeah.
Table there.
Yeah.
So that's here. So and then Louis is going to be working on one. There's a slime pit that you walk in, and so we were like, what if you could walk on lava or clouds or something? Like, what would that look like or feel like? We have to work that one out. All of these things are
Some kind of
subject to
hopefully a
changes.
live style transfer of some kind. Yeah.
Yes, totally. And then Porter, who's a new member, works in Touch Designer and it's built a fun first version of this that you had at that party, right? Do you want to describe that just for a second?
It's Kevin uses stream diffusion. It's like a live camera stream diffusion experience, and we're gonna make it slime themed for the party. Yeah.
I mean, it's
So you're wearing like a mask, like did people put masks on and then it transformed off of the mask?
It just says like live style transfer off of like a
Whatever it
camera
seems.
input, yeah.
It's good.
And it can tell faces and it can tell bodies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's that.
So anyway, so we're gonna be working on that. If anybody wants to participate or help or be invited, feel free to reach out and we'll.
Can you just explain? Slumu is, do you rent this place?
That's what I'm
It is for rent. They are friends of ours that we've just known for a
That
long
started.
time.
Yes.
The founders are
And
friends of ours.
So it is right across from on Fairfax? Or
Yes, it's
a
right,
farmer's market?
it's right across from the farm.
Is it that big
The
building?
pink building.
What
It used to be
Yeah.
what?
It's the old VR.
They've taken that over?
The old IMAX VR.
It's like
that-
the
it's
album
fantastic.
for kids.
Yeah, great.
and stuff.
Yeah, it's 13,000 square feet. It's huge.
And they've taken it over?
Yeah.
It's
So
amazing.
when you go in there,
I thought that was a natural.
oh yeah, is it just open or do you have to?
No, you have to buy
Are you
tickets.
going to
It's
get
like a $20 ticket and you get to make your own slime.
Or you're just
And
gonna
then
pay
there's a retail shop where people
And then
are
people spend a lot of
having
money.
like a Willy
I can switch to
Wonka,
whatever.
like
Yeah.
insanity.
Do you stay?
I mean, if families with kids might stay for an hour.
Alright, so,
Yeah.
Should I switch up to my next topic?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, so that was Slumu.
Okay.
That was Slumu.
Excellent.
It's the university thing to talk
I think
about
it's
Slumu.
obviously gonna be fun.
So now back to like the topic of cinematography. Like I said, I have total imposter syndrome when it comes to cinematography. So what I did today was a fun exercise with prompting, starting with a famous photograph. And so I asked ChatGPT here, I said, without using any brand names or referencing the name of the famous photo, describe this image in detail as though you were trying to recreate it exactly using stable diffusion. So blah, blah, blah. I got some prompts and then I got a first try. So then it was like, okay, here's one roll. You're close on all the objects, but I would like the man and the chair to be in full profile and everything in the frame to be very square to the lens. What would you add to achieve this? So, a bunch of blah, blah, blah and a new prompt, and then got another one. So it's like, okay, so knowing what we know we're going for, how could we improve this? That was the notes I gave. It's like, you know what we're going for, you see what we're getting, how would you describe this better? So, blah, 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 blah. And then finally got some other better prompts and got some kind of pretty close ones for fun.
So it corrected.
It corrected.
You were just like try a little harder.
Yeah, I was like, you know what we're going for. You know what the prompt you gave. Here's the output we're getting. How would you improve it? Like I didn't have to say like how to improve it. It was like it's like you know what we're going for. So get more specific. So then this is the oh here I have to load a different. I got to load a different comfy thing. Isn't that what this is all about? Humans being lazy and asking
It being lazy, not you. Not
it was
you.
lazy. I was like, well,
You're telling it,
I
look,
mean,
you know what
you
we're
know,
going for, you're not getting there.
It maybe has a prime directive to be half-assed until you tell it to like really try harder or something like that, because it knows for whatever it's charging us, it's burning a lot of electricity and GPUs. In the meantime, a lot of other people are making requests, so it probably wants to just do the bare minimum. So
I don't think it knows what is salient in the other picture. Like, I think it's looking at the picture and it's like, okay.
Well,
Like
if
the
you're
guy with
trying-
the thing. Like you
what's-
have a cultural reference that it does not have.
If you're trying.
Oh, it
Right.
does. That's why I did this exercise before, and it was like, oh, this is the Memorex photo by something else, something, and it knew exactly what it was, which is why I asked for give it to me with no brand names and no anything like that. Just describe it in intricate detail.
So did you ask it to copy it?
I didn't ask it to copy it. I said to describe this image, and then to give me the verbiage of a prompt if I was going to try to recreate this.
Right. Well, next time maybe have it copy it and then prompt.
Oh, I thought that was sort of like the no to tell it to copy, because
No, I think
No,
you're
but
being
it's
very
also-
smart about
It
what
would
you're
give
trying
out
to
the
do.
proper prompt that it would do to give you that.
I'd say I'll just be like, all right, you've worn me down, ChatGPT. Just copy it, okay? Would you just copy it? Yeah. So
Maybe
so
just
now.
tell it, I can do this.
And if you tell anyone, you'll never work in this town.
Yeah.
Again, ChatGPT.
It knows it will work in this town, I think. Oh, so then here, let's see. Hopefully it loads. Hopefully I don't have to run it again, but maybe I do. So this is this is a service called Runware, which is like another thing like Fall or Replicate, where if you have a Mac that doesn't have the GPUs necessary to do nice image generation, you can do it in the cloud. And this one is particularly cheap, and I'm motivated to get it working for me because I signed up for it really early, and they gave me $53 of credits. But like, there's not a lot of things running on it yet, so I actually, through much trial and error, got a comfy UI node running, and I put it on GitHub. And doesn't seem like anybody else that is using this service. They're building other things, but not comfy UI stuff. So, but I got it running, and I guess I should just run it because I put the prompt in there, and you can set it up to. I guess I could do as many copies of this as possible, but with one click, it'll do 20 rolls of the generation. So I had them up there a minute ago. It's relatively fast for doing 20, but that was the fun exercise in image creation. I suppose you could do that with just about anything if you were trying to go for a certain style or a certain framing. It's just a novel use of the various tools. Definitely wouldn't encourage plagiarism of any kind, but that was just for the sake of the exercise, something to try.
Well, I do this all the time because it's like not just for copying something, but also just like getting a specific type of angle, like for the cover cup thing. Like I wanted to have a top-down angle shot that's from the ceiling, and I tried so many different prompts that didn't work. So I just like took something from a movie that was the same exact framing of that shot, and this is like, how do you describe this type of shot? And I just copy pasted the part that described the angle of it, but not anything else.
Right.
Using that, what is that shot? What's that shot library?
Shot deck.
Shot deck.
Uh-huh.
Using shot deck for that.
Great.
Yeah, that's a good.
Oh yeah, there's
too.
another one on Hugging Face called Almost, OMOST, which is like you give it a brief description and then it will expand it into a very detailed description, and then it'll generate something, and then you can basically give notes on the thing that it generated, and then it'll like do a new very detailed description. I'd show it to you, but I've run out of my Hugging Face tokens for the day. Maybe I should pay someday. So here's one set, and these are pretty funny because like all of a sudden it's putting two people in there. But the fun thing that I wanted to be able to do next is to do similar to what I did with the Slugu, but I want to be able to, and maybe somebody knows how to do this. If you've got a folder and you want to batch process things in a folder through Comfy UI with one click, like let's say let's say I've gathered 20 of these generations, and now I want to make loops based on a certain prompt using the Luma API. I know how to do it by just like dragging it in and hitting click, and you can get them queued up that way. But that's the next thing I was hoping to have that figured out and show you guys how to just put things into a folder and then process them all.
Wait, this is
while
sorry,
walking away.
I'm catching up a little bit.
That's okay.
This is Flux right now.
This is Flux, but running on Runware, which is another service like
That's cloud.
Fall.ai.
It's in the cloud.
It's in the cloud.
But
So,
then, if like, since you have two guys here, can you edit one guy out like with Midjourney?
oh, I mean, yeah. Well, that's my.
Because that's not possible in most Flux iterations that I played with.
Well, so because it's comfy, what I would do is like maybe there's some Flux way to do it, but because I've got it in comfy, I also have the stability AI nodes in here. So if I wanted to just go like paint one of the guys out and say make him a speaker, see
But then
make
you're
him a
using stability in that case too.
Yeah,
to
but that's
generate that
that's
part
kind of
image.
that's the beauty of like the stuff in the various API keys and the nodes
Yeah.
in comfy UIs. You can just marry things together and make one-click things. Like the Slumu thing is 3 different APIs from 3 different services to create a one-click thing.
But I guess in that case, if I had generated this image right here on the bottom is a Flux image.
Yeah.
But then I'm using mask or whatever to repaint the guy on the left, and you're using SD to do that. You're not using Flux to do that. Or
I
you
just
could
don't.
also
I mean,
use
I
Flux.
could. I just don't. I don't have the nodes that are that. Or
Gotcha.
that's actually that's
don't
one
have
of the
the Flux
things.
node.
That's one of the things. Runware is supposed to have Flux and Stable Diffusion of all of these different other things, and I've only been able to get text to image to run in there on that. So yeah.
And Red Panda's not in here yet.
What is Red Panda? I know somebody just
I don't know,
posted
it's
about
in
that just
it's
now.
in Twitter now. It's the thing of the day.
That didn't answer the question.
It's supposed to be
It's on
the best
Twitter.
text image model.
That
It's a new text
That is
image
not a
model.
recommendation.
They're working with both Flux and Flux. I don't know. I haven't found it. It might be Chinese. It's probably Chinese. Red Panda sounds Chinese.
It's Chinese.
Yeah. See, so I would just go. If I wanted to do it, I would just pull up, and I've got API tokens for this one too. I would just pull this up. This is the stability API node here. And it's like, believe me, all this stuff is very, very kludgy getting it running. Because they all have different places where you have to go into a config file and paste the API key. Some of them aren't set up like that, and you have to just have a little notes doc and drag it in every time you open it or save it as part of your workflow or something like that. But
You
yeah,
can't set it to automatically
that,
remember the APIs from session to session.
if that's what I wanted to do,
Mountain View, California. Red Panda. Red Panda's from Mountain View, California.
Is it AI image generator? Yeah, drop the link in the WhatsApp.
So anyway, that's what I would do, just because it's the one that I have that works really well. Then I'll also say as a
For sure.
side note, the what missing mask. Thank you. See, idiot proof, sort of. That also one thing that I don't really have an example of it right now, but to make a clean plate, if you're doing visual effects, stability erase is it's kind of insane, where you can just go and take like a whole, mostly like a single shot of a person, paint around them, and then they just are erased. And now you have a clean plate if you need to do roto and have something to put behind them. Is kind of an insane thing. Oh, there, it's done already. Not really a speaker, but something. Pretty seamless.
Oh.
So yeah.
So what was the main thing from the source image that you were trying to emulate here? Was it the lighting or the composition?
The composition, the
Yeah.
feel of it, and then I rolled a few of them earlier and they're pretty funny, so I'll share with you, because I thought it'd be funny just to create a supercut of all these video generations and the crazy things that it would do with it, and then maybe come up with some kind of 80s goth song that would go along with it. Because little known fact is the guy in the picture, the Memorex picture, is Peter Murphy. I don't know if that's an urban legend
Really?
but that I've heard that many times, that the original guy. So, where's my... see here. Oh no, that was my slur move. Oh yeah, that's my 20 rolls right there. Oh, that's another test, which I could show you in a minute.
So in terms of like,
Oh yeah, these are fun. I don't know what
Is
this
that
one.
Luma?
Huh?
Is that Luma?
These are Luma. So yeah, what I was hoping to do is just set up a chain where it can, like, with one click, have it generate 20 of them, and then roll 20 of these weird loops,
Oh.
and then make it into a trippy video. And then let's see. Then what else? And let's see. Here I have Resolve.
Luma, what do you mean by Luma?
Luma is like Runway. There's, Luma is one of the many video generators.
Oh, okay.
And I think it might have been the first one that was able to do image to image. So you could set up 2 keyframes on it. So if you,
I can't even do Runway. I haven't seen it on Runway.
oh
They
really?
said it's there, but I haven't found it.
Is it image to image?
Image to image?
Yes.
First frame and last
You have
frame,
to
right?
upgrade.
Runway,
Yeah.
I am upgraded.
What play are you using?
Shit.
So,
I don't want to expose myself.
Yeah, because I did
so this is, maybe Farina's watching now. I hope she doesn't mind that I'm using this as an example. So this was,
I don't get my Midjourney.
I don't know if this was Verina's entry into the Halloween contest at Curious Refuge, and so she asked me to help because this one character had a red shirt on for the entirety of the whole thing, and then I had to do, and then she said this shot is perfect except for he's wearing the wrong color shirt here. Oh, and his teeth do weird things too, which we also fixed. So.
Wait, how did you fix? Okay.
That's the bad one over here, and then this is the one as fixed, and then this is it's kind of like, I would say, here, I'll open it up here. This is Fusion and DaVinci Resolve, and I guess it is I don't know if it's an AI feature inside Resolve or what it is, but it's called Magic Matte. So let me see, open this up.
so is this related to what you were doing with the other shot, or is this a different?
Which other shot?
With the guy in the chair shot, or is it a whole different?
Oh, it's a whole different thing. I'm just
okay.
I'm free association now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then, until I'm out of things to say, and then I'll
Shots.
hand the mic on to somebody.
Shots.
Shots.
Yeah.
It's all shots.
Let's go.
It's shots all the way down. Yeah.
Good song.
So yeah, this is more. Oh, I know why.
Wait, Resolve has a tool that allows you to use AI to change colors of objects?
Yes. Well, I'm looking for it. I might actually be in a deep. Okay, so this I think was me trying to fix the teeth. I think I've got to go into a deeper level of the effect too. Let me see.
With AI? Oh.
So yeah, this is it actually. Open in.
But when you kind of like selecting the segment, it's way more easier than before. I think it's like AI assisting it. It's just one click.
With Resolve or with AE?
I think both of them have that now.
Okay, so this is the magic mask. So it's a thing that's built in, and I'll say actually, now that I've seen the SAM 2 from Meta, like I wish there was a node that just did that, and you can actually do that if the clip is short enough, you can put it onto the SAM 2 site, and then tell it to be black and white for whatever it is you're cutting out, and then bring it in and you just use it as a matte in any one of these things. So this is that's cutting the thing out. And then this is cutting the thing out with the color corrector, and then this is just remerging it. So getting the magic matte to work. I'm not doing it from beginning to end, but there is a little bit like you select, and then sometimes it gets things out. So sometimes there's a little bit of manual, but mostly you can just select an object and then track it from beginning to end, and it does a pretty good job.
May I take one quick look at the color corrector?
Oh yeah, sure. Oh yeah, this is different than the normal color corrector that you would use in Resolve to color correct your whole piece. This is a color correction node right here that you can use. Like for instance, if you're compositing pieces together and you're putting something into like a cool blue place and it's warm, then you could go and let me see.
And also, while you're adjusting it, how do you match this shot, like the color, to the other shots?
So I think this was it. Maybe it's not showing up anymore, but I did actually have another shot of the red shirt, and then I had that up in the other in the other side, and then I was just kind of like eyeballing it until it was about the same.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So is this the software you use just for the all editing? So
This
you
is-
replace
this
Premiere?
Yes, this is what I use for everyday editing.
It looks like it's like a combination of After Effects.
So,
Yeah.
oh yeah, well, I guess I could give you for those who don't know. So this is like the import window. This is a window called Cut that I don't understand, but I never use. I've used the
I
edit
think it's
window.
like social media manager.
Is that who uses it?
Yeah.
I don't know who uses it, but it was a thing that came up.
Yeah.
Versions.
Yeah. So this is the edit window, which is, if you remember Final Cut 7,
Yeah.
it works basically like Final Cut 7, which is why it's attractive to me, but it's also like very similar to Avid. And then this tab right here, that's Fusion. So that's what we were just looking at. That's all of the node-based effects, of which there are many, and then there's other open source ones that you can download that are pretty cool. Including, I have one node where you can put a Stable Diffusion API into it, and then just do a text-to-image prompt. Like if you need a background for something you're working on, you can do a text-to-image prompt, and it'll show up right in the bin, and you can drag it into the timeline without leaving Resolve, which is pretty cool.
And it's free.
And it's free. Well, those plugins are free. So there's a free version of Resolve. I don't think you can run those free open source things on the free version, but
it's like $300.
but it's $300 for a forever license.
Yeah.
As opposed to whatever all the other ones. I know Avid will charge you $20 a month, and all the other ones charge you a goodly month. And then this is the state of the art color correction window that most movies and TV shows that you see, they have much fancier hardware than I'm using here, but this is basically the interface, and they'll probably also have an additional thing with wheels and stuff like that on it. And then this is a full multi-track mixing thing that is probably never going to be adopted because the real mixing people are all going to use Pro Tools, but still it's quite capable. And if you need to do a subframe edit or something like that, it also has a new feature in it, which is called Unmix, which is pretty cool. You can bring in just a stereo mix of something and separate it into drums, music, stems, kind of in the same way that you can on these various websites that'll do that. But this will do it right in the box, so you can.
While you're in the video.
Yeah, what's that?
Do it while you're in the video.
You can do while you're in the video. Like if your video comes with, you just click on the remix thing, and then if you want to take the vocals all the way down, you can take the vocals all the way down. It's as not perfect as those things usually are, but it's just cool that it's right there in the box. And then so that's the audio window, and then there's the delivery window where there's all sorts of presets, and then you can also make custom presets. This would also be a fairly industry state-of-the-art thing if you're making stuff to the specs of a network. Like you would have your presets in here and marry your audio and video together and make it right here. So that's the.
So you prefer this over Premiere and After Effects?
I haven't really used Premiere. After Effects I've used only a little bit. The one thing I prefer having the forever license and not paying for the subscriptions.
Yeah.
I prefer it all being in the one box. I know that if Premiere is its own thing, After Effects is its own thing.
Right.
You can be working in what they're going for here is being able to work with teams in the same timeline. So your picture
it's
editor.
a Google Doc type.
Yeah, but even more so. So let's say I have a timeline with 1,000 cuts in it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can do. I could probably open one in something else, but you could open that same thing, and now all of a sudden I'm in the audio window. Now the picture cuts are locked. You can't make any changes to picture, but the audio guys can go in and do all sorts of stuff in there without even changing. They can work on the same timeline. Then the picture guys can open the timeline up again and go, oh, cool. They cleaned that audio up and they added sound effects there and stuff like that. So that's for instance, you're working in the exact same timeline as the editor. It's can you do this cleanup thing on this one shot? So somebody can open it up, and then the editor, next time they open it, it's the thing is done right in their timeline without having to export it and make it into some other working format for other people.
Can you do it simultaneously?
I haven't tried, but I know we had it set up for the kind of shared project thing. They also have a shared project thing, which it's a very nominal subscription, and then you can have people working remotely in the cloud on the same project. I don't know if you can have people working in the exact same timeline at the same time. It would be cool, but I also, I know that would also defy general best practices for teamwork of, usually you want somebody else to work in a copy and then somebody else would marry it just so, the somebody else doesn't destroy your work by accident. Just for the general being more careful. Then let's see.
Should we continue?
Yes. So that's and if anybody wants to know more about Resolve, that's what I know.
What's the name of that program again?
Oh, it's DaVinci Resolve. Yeah. And there is a free version on the App Store that you can get and play with. It just doesn't have all of the effects and everything that the full version has.
And just one quick thing to add up. If you want to buy the pro version, don't just buy the software. You can actually choose a panel. You have a panel, and it's almost the same price, just like $10. There's a panel.
Oh, is it really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So like just buy the
So I
panel.
guess
and you also get pro.
if you buy a piece of hardware from them, I didn't realize they had hardware that cheap. But yes, the pro version comes with hardware if you buy the hardware. I mean, I think I've seen a lot of people on eBay just buy the hardware and then they resell the hardware.
I talked to the guy at City here, and he said, no, you have to buy a camera. You have to buy a certain.
Oh, the change it?
Yeah, you can't.
Oh,
you
maybe
can't
so.
just- You have to buy like a camera, and then
Okay.
get design for it. Yeah, it doesn't.
Bummer.
I asked him, so yeah, because people were doing it like trying to pay $200 for something, and then you said no, you gotta buy a camera.
The cameras are perfect entry level cinema cameras.
That's true as well.
Good purchase. Can do like video to video or something.
Yeah.
Sorry, now I'm looking for where's my other timeline. Oh yeah, here's my other timeline. Oh, so and then this was like a novel experiment that I wanted to try, just basically to try to like recreate an Indiana Jones like scene where there's like some sort of idol. So this was just prompting to get something.
You said there's a lifetime, the $300 lifetime?
$300 lifetime membership, not membership, or license basically. So let's see. This was another funny experiment that I did. So you know how like if you're doing 3D or whatever, you try to do a get a 360 turntable. So this is something I tried in the past couple of days. I wouldn't say it's that successful, but I'm just bringing it up here because it's a thing I tried. So basically, I started with let me see. I think I can actually load that up too. But I started with my LinkedIn headshot, and then I outpainted it until it was like most of a 3/4 of a body there, and then I prompted Minimax to make myself do a 360. And as if I was shooting a visual effects element, but so it's pretty cool. It does most of a 360. So like,
What did you prompt Minimax with?
I think I said something like 360-degree turntable view. So this is like the first roll that I got, which is the best one, and then it like totally does this at the end. So, but that's okay because the purpose of this was to be able to get frames. So so this is like comping myself into here that's like for frame number 1, and then this is like comping myself in for frame number 2, and then putting it this is Luma, which it didn't do that great of a job, but like was able to sort of like basically compose a start and end frame. It kind of turned it. And then, that was the best. That was the best version of picking up the statue that I was able to get. So yeah.
So is it, you took your static LinkedIn shot?
Yes.
And then is it interpolating your back and everything?
Yes. It actually, I'd say it did a pretty good job with like, when I had a shorter haircut and stuff, I think it like made a pretty good guess of like what even my hairline looks like.
Well, what's interesting is the back of your coat has the right wrinkles.
Oh, you want to know what's funny? This coat also, I'll admit, is my LinkedIn headshot is another picture of me that I cleaned up the background of, and then I basically prompted for a brown leather blazer in it because I wear it all the time, and it's like a thing that people recognize me as wearing. So I actually like this brown leather blazer is not this jacket. It's this jacket described for my yes. It's this jacket described for my headshot. Yes.
You're totally.
No, I'm not. I swear. What's that?
Yeah.
But the headshot though. Oh yeah, that's what outpainting means. So it started out like this. So
you can tell once you say it, you can tell they're not the same.
I'll see if I can find this here. I don't know if this is going to be it. This was there's one version of it. Man turns around doing complete 360. Face remains neutral. Oh, this is a bad version of it. So this is like this is the huge version of trying to like basically make a head to toe version of that, and it really didn't work out because I think when the face gets small, it like just turns into it stops. It sees so. If it's a close-up, the fidelity is pretty good. But once you get into the wider shot, but here, let's see. Maybe there's a different one of these here.
Why were you cascading it like that?
So it doesn't leave them loaded in there. But what it is it's like it at every step, it's outpainting one more step. So yeah, I could just hit run on it and see if it goes. So basically, oh no, I see. It's not going to do it. I'll tell you why. Because I short circuited it so that it would just go from here to here.
It had a max zoom out for each.
Yeah,
step,
for outpainting with stability outpainting, it's 512 pixels. So each time, and then at a certain point, because I had made it so big, it got to the point where it was too big and it wouldn't accept it. So I had to downsize it again to get it to go all the way up.
Yeah, that's a lot of cost.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
And you're
that's
paying for each iteration?
yeah, but I think using the API keys is like 3 cents or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So and that's like the other thing. If you're not using API keys for stuff and you feel like you've got subscription anxiety, you can't like the great thing about API keys is they're just like you just have them. So if you do something, if you're hitting something hot and heavy for the weekend and you use a bunch and then you still have like $50 worth left over, and then you don't do anything with that service for 3 months, they're still there, as opposed to just like, suffering from subscription anxiety. So.
But I love this. It's like, I feel like a lot of times it's hard to get like a side angle of someone. Like if you're trying to
That's the idea. That was just kind of an idea that I had is like remove the background and then, have the I'm asking too much, asking the AI person to do a full 360, maybe just ask them stand in a T pose or like turn around on your back, do a T pose or whatever,
Maybe give a camera move of orbiting that person.
I'm just going to try that one too. Yeah. But I think that's all I've got of just like things that I had prepared to talk about today. Those are things. Any questions or?
So you're mostly using Luma now because you're in company.
Well,
so you're not using
no, actually, that's
so which APIs
this
are you
this
using for
is
video?
so in Fall.ai with API tokens you can run this is Minimax. You can actually run using API tokens and this node right here. You can run Minimax. You can run what's the other Chinese one?
Cling.
You can run Runway and you can run Luma. So through Fall, you don't have to I have Luma. I've got API tokens from Luma, but you don't have to have them from there.
So the only ones that are not on here are what? Runway, Sora.
Runway is on there. Sora's not because nobody has it.
Yeah, but Runway's API access is much more limited.
Yeah.
Like their
You
web-
can't. Yeah,
like,
you can't do that. But here's.
I think it's only image. It's image to video. There's no. Yeah.
So
Hey,
this is.
image to videos is very
So
model.
this is all like right now. I'm sure maybe you could do it now if you knew how to write the node or to modify the node. But right now it's only image to video. But you can do a runway generation in here, and it burns a certain amount of API keys. So let's see, what is it? Fall.ai.
So they're like an open source.
They're like Replicate. They're just like a place that is hosting the services in the cloud. That's also where the LoRa for the Slumu stuff. That's where they have. Where is it? Like you go
Did
into.
you paid? I guess you.
Yeah, like here I've got $8 left. I think I have it like auto recharge, and then it's kind of like pennies each. I think the video, running Minimax, I think is like 30 cents a roll.
So got it.
Yeah.
Like comparing to their own service, does like running the API cheaper than like subscription?
I'm not even sure. The thing that I know is it just means like if you don't have to think about your subscription and canceling it if you're not going to use it again right away.
Oh, because it's just pinging as token.
Yeah. So yeah, like these, like if you buy $30 of tokens, they're good in 6 months. Like that's the difference.
For all those, anything you
Any of the
query
tokens
from
here,
here.
yeah, you can do
use credits
any
for
of these things that you can find in here. You can also run these right on the website. You know, but I like, oh yeah, like what cog video? I don't know if that's a thing that they've got a node for yet. Anybody's done that one, but
Haven't
Yeah.
heard of it.
but yeah, Kling, Luma.
But okay, but when you use like Clean API, can you use the motion brush feature?
No, it's just we'll do text to video.
Okay.
So yeah,
Why do you
right now, but yeah,
Why do you prefer to use Comfy UI for these relatively simple tasks versus like going and doing it directly in the app besides the credits?
Also, I like that every time you do something, it just downloads to a folder on your computer. So there's not like if you've been generating furiously for a half an hour and then you have to go back and like individually download everything. Like this basically just goes into, I have an outputs folder where everything goes, and then I can just drag it straight into whatever editor from there. Or if I set the save folder as a shared folder between people I was working with on a team, they would just be, every generation would just be going straight to the shared folder where people could be like let's say we were on Discord working together. They saw that I just generated this thing. It's like, okay, that's cool. It's saved already in the folder if you want to pull it in and do your thing with it or something.
So
like
the
that.
file name will be more consistent when we're kind of downloading from different services, right? Like the file name.
Oh, well, yeah, I think it's set up. I think I have a default thing. And so, yeah, this is just sent Comfy UI and a number,
Good.
which is not great.
But I mean, it's better than all
But
the-
that leads me to another thing that I've tried to create, and I have created a semi-successful version of, but for teams working together with a shared folders, something to the effect where like you can have automatic renaming. It's like everybody who's working on your thing, they put their things in a folder, and then their things stay exactly as they ever put them in the folder. But every time they put something in the folder, a copy goes to, let's say, the editor's central media folder, and it says, Brian, Project A, Scene 1, and then, maybe truncates the file name, removes the commas and other things with it that wreak havoc on other systems. So, yeah.
It's amazing.
But I had a version of that running with still photos, and then we started putting movies in and more things. This is when we were doing the Garbage Person project.
Yeah.
And by the end of the first day, it was like, I probably had it running too many checksums, and it was just bogged down, and so like things were not appearing in the editor's folder.
No.
But I don't know what I'm doing, so so that's why I need people who know what they're doing with these
Someone
things.
built
Yeah.
that they can sell you as a tool.
I know what I mean when I ask for it, but I don't really understand completely the execution of some of these things. So that's the I guess the beauty and the danger of like asking a chatbot to write code that does a specific thing for you.
To bring the conversation
Yeah.
back around, Skylar also was here to present some stuff.
Oh yes,
Hello.
that was all I had. So cool.
Yeah, but before we go to your thing, I did want to ask people so we all voted on this topic, like cinematography and upscaling. Like, did anyone come with like specific things they wanted to talk about or like questions they
You know what I
had?
forgot? I'm so sorry.
I did. I guess two questions. One is that have you A/B tested the difference between prompting into Comfy versus prompting directly into like the Luma interface or the?
No, I
is there a
haven't. But then I
significant-
also know that no two, it's never the same. Like even in the same thing. So it's like always a random roll.
And then I guess a larger topic, which I don't know how I don't have anything to present on this, but like I was hoping to kind of have a discussion or have us share with each other how are we like what types of cinematography are best per Luma, per runway, per hyperloop, per like which one is best at doing a drone shot versus which one is best at doing like a cinematic pan in, like that kind of conversation. That's like what I'm most interested in.
I think the only thing that I think I have to add to that is I think if the original still generation indicates motion of some kind, like even if it means you have to go back and add it, like let's say you have a beautiful vista, but you want it to be a drone shot. Like if you were if it didn't come out like that in the first generation, but you could put it in something like this and add like a little bit of the zoom blur to the edge, sort of indicating to to the thing that this is a still from a moving shot. Anything that sort of indicates a little bit of action, like motion blur on the side or something that looks like motion in action, then that might help it. But I think that's all I.
That I get, but
Yeah.
what I'm still, it's like only feelings that I have
Mm,
when I play with all these models.
Yeah.
And it's like, I kind of am
What
like,
kind of feeling?
dark feelings of doom and glory. But no, I like, like, I'm like, okay, Hyrule is currently, to me, the market leader for stuff, right?
Right.
So like, I know that I can have you walk across like the beach and have your object permanence, your subject permanence be maintained, but at the same time, I'm sometimes getting a better like nice slow pan-in with Luma than I would with but these are just like it's just like sometimes of course I'm just running 5 at the same time and I'm like, all right, I like this one, and I'll continue. But I don't know if anybody else is like more than just feelings. Like all I'm running on is feelings.
I kind of agree with all your feelings, to be honest. Like what I'm feeling now for Runway and Luma is like if you want to do some slow like camera movement and not that much things were moving, then you use Luma and you use Runway. Because when you use Minimax, it tends to move everything like very like vibrantly.
It wants to make people talk.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes people do this. But if you use Runway and Luma, they'll do like just a little
slow.
Yeah. But when it comes to Minimax, you can also tell it to like stand still. Just the characters stay still, like no facial expressions, he understands. And you can also tell it like happy, everything. Kling and Minimax actually has that like features. You can type in like expressions, it will understand.
They have in English or in Chinese?
Both.
Really?
Well,
so what are you? How are you prompting? You're just saying, hey, this. Are you re-prompting the image? So you're telling it this is it. So like, if I have an image of Davis walking on the beach or running, let's say running on the beach.
Actually add on like happily or like sad.
You can actually the video prompt.
Yeah, but if you in the video prompt, and if you want to be more specific, you can actually say like eyebrows goes up or something like that. Although it will be not that accurate, but it will shows like the like mouth open or something, and it works both for Mandarin and English. But I mean, when it comes to like grammar wise, you understand Mandarin better, and the structure will be a little different from English, but because the developers
So is it better to prompt?
Is this
to translate from English into?
I think this is Verina's video from her. But you were talking about upscaling, so I did forget one thing actually.
Say it.
I mean, the way we
Tell me how
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, right.
I will charge like.
Oh, yeah.
I will write
So,
everyone put me
So this is like fall
And
done,
also,
and then I think you guys
also
you're going to like
Kling, there is actually an interesting
pricing,
way to.
or I don't remember where exactly.
No.
But yeah, it's right there on the web. Oh yeah, API keys right there.
Everyone's happy Brian's API key.
Yeah, no, that's right. See, the stars on
Hey,
you.
I
have my
have a
API
meeting,
keys.
you never, they're like, you're never gonna see this again.
I only
This
got-
is the last one.
So you just go get them at wherever whatever the services are. Different services have them, and then you can plug them into different software to use outside of their website.
So you're plugging it into the font.
I'm plugging it into Comfy UI currently.
Okay.
But that reminds me, there is a thing that I forgot to talk about, which is we were talking about upscaling,
Yeah.
right? So.
I was figuring upscaling if we exhaust cinematography.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I guess
But-
like before I shut up. Resolve also has sort of its own super scale and sharpening things in it that you can use, and then it also has these film, film style designs. So like right now, here I'm just putting a lot of grain on it, so you can see what that looks like, and then I'll just turn it off, just really quick.
Oh, is this upscaling?
Well, this is adding grain. But,
adding grain.
wait, why is it just? Oh, I see. This one I've got to turn off this way. So this is just like a lot of the AI outputs. They have the same issue as CG kind of stuff, where it's like kind of shiny and kind of smooth and kind of plastic looking. And then this is just like I put a bunch of it on. But that's like if you look at a real if you look at, look closely at real film outputs or even digital camera outputs, they do have this kind of, there's a little bit of noise in it, which gives it a texture and a life, outside of that sort of smooth look. So that's just like kind of a trick to take the AI or CG curves off of things. There's also adding a little bit of gate weave, like which, an old film, you can put a lot of it and look like Grindhouse, or you can put just a little bit of it. And so what would otherwise be, like what's the new thing on Runway where people can talk? That's pretty, Act One. It's super, other than the person's face, it's super static. But if you could add like a little bit of tiny bit of camera motion and stuff, that would be a thing to do. And then in here, there's also,
do you usually add camera motion in the prompt, or are you doing it in the editor?
when it's just that little bit, I do it as a finishing effect.
Yeah, I feel like I'm hypersensitive to that, and every time I do that, I'm like, this looks so artificial. But
Right.
maybe
Every time you add it?
like
I think it's 'cause you know.
Post. Yeah, I don't like doing it post.
And then there's tasteful and not tasteful. So,
Yeah, but I mean, it's important, like actual camera movement, like making it look handheld. Like you need to have that parallax view as well. So it's like if you're just doing that in post, it's gonna look fake if you do it too much. But when you're talking about like which models, like which services are better in terms of like different camera styles, like I feel like Runway is pretty good in that it has like a lot of like cinematic triggers.
Yeah,
so
you mean it's like the keywords, presets or whatever. Right?
Yeah, like I feel like that. Like if I want to go with something like handheld, like Runway would be better.
But it's just like you click on it and then it puts the text in it for you, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it's just like that was what it was disappointing for me about Luma as well. Is that they added this like camera pans light. But actually
it doesn't
it's just
always
more
work.
text. And it also doesn't work. Yeah, it's disappointing.
Yeah.
But I found out like in Runway, if you just prompt too much of the code based on their camera structure, they focus on it so much and nothing in the render room. They only just camera.
Yeah.
But
Look at your token window with like everything, all that other stuff. Yeah.
Maybe this will transition over though to Playbook, and we talk about 3D.
Yeah. So thank you, and let's talk about Playbook.
Good to meet you all who I haven't met yet. Thank you. Let's see if this.
You need a.
Brian, if you could sit. I'm not sure.
And I wish Nem could have made it because he also has a tool that's like pre-visualization, and storyboarding. That's like is very useful to think about too.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's his tool.
Yeah, but that's also like framing shots in a 3D space, so like through using your phone. I think like augmented reality.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
an augmented reality app, and you can place little players around and
Yeah.
change the angle by moving the camera, but then freeze the frames for storyboarding and for like an initial reference photo.
Like if you look at what they did in The Lion King, like the new Lion King, where they were like locking things in a VR headset, it's exactly like that, but like with your phone, right?
Really cool.
Yeah.
But then the problem is that he's using SD, right?
Is that the problem? I don't know.
At least now when I haven't played with it in a while, but it was like, now I can like I can move the camera around in the 3D space that I created, which itself took a while.
Yeah.
I hope Nev's not listening. And then I'm now gonna I have like 7 or 8 options to like change that shot into like anime or like real or whatever. The problem is that he's using Stable Diffusion to do those renders. I don't know if it's upgraded to Flux, but that's still like a limitation.
Yeah, but it's more just like a storyboarding tool versus
Yeah.
like final
Correct.
image tool, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I feel like 3D is an interesting way to solve this problem of like not having the control
Right.
that you would have with a physical camera in physical space.
So jumping in.
I'm hyping you up.
Hi. Yeah. Thank you so much. Well, again, shout out to you again because Maddie used Playbook for one of your films for the Color Cup. We were one of the featured tools of the. You guys are all familiar with Color Cup.
Yeah.
You're roughly finalist. Amazing, absolutely amazing film. So yeah, congratulations again. Yes, exactly, all finalists. So I guess this all came about. Well, my background's in 3D animation, VFX, and I got to play with Comfy UI, and I wanted it to be easier for you to use 3D with your Comfy UI workflows, and kind of solving the tedium of if I want to get captures, have like this dynamic feedback loop between my editor and my workflows. So this is our beta product. Since now kind of building out a more official release, this is what was used in the Culver Cup. And this kind of it's one way to solve the whole, I want to get a very specific shot. Maybe I don't know how to describe that shot in words, and that's what we've both been talking about. And this always felt very natural, at least for me, to be able to like actually grab a virtual camera and kind of pilot that shot, and then from there you can have more per object control, maybe consistency. So what this is right here is kind of like basically a 3D editor built on diffusion models. 3JS, super simple, solid studio. Hopefully the GPU is going to stay warm. I do also have some prompts in here. And so what this is doing here, this also maintains. So what we do here is that we're actually pulling a series of passes, like passes you guys already use in your workflows. So like a mask pass, depth pass, candy pass, basically like having that kind of per object control. So not just having control over the whole scene, but also at a per object level, because we know what objects are separate. And also actually having the passes not estimated, but actually generated, like pulled directly from the scene. I can, here's some of the, wow, I don't know why, that's a special, how was it film? That was all it is. This is one of the previous ones I had. So you're seeing like, I wanted it to be my 1960s diner neon lighting. You can see like this was just the capture, like that's like straight from the 3JS scene. And this is with the generation. And this is really compelling to me, not just for image, but for video, because when you can have, frame to frame consistency, you can have IP consistency, you can have character consistency. For animation, that's what I'm really excited about. I'll tab over, yeah.
Do you want to finish, or
No, let's just have it be fast. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Please.
To interrupt. No, I'm just kidding. So is this a photo on the right? Photo, or is that
that's a generation. I really because it did it empty. Did it really?
Like, is it an image?
There so it's gonna do it again.
Yeah. So is it rendering what we are seeing on the left via a photo that it's seeing on the right, or is it seeing
Great
a 3D object?
So basically, like this camera here. This is we're capturing. I wish I could show this easier, but so with this, we're capturing not just this is like the beauty pass, we're also capturing depth, canny, mask, normals, whatever, and we're not estimating it because we actually have that data because it's a 3D scene. And we get all that, we feed it to our backend, feed it through the workflow. It's just like one of my workflows that I have in here. And then out of it, you get this. The flux in here, I need to get the other control nuts in here because it's like Stable Diffusion has a very high level of adherence. You're gonna see like the chairs are there for the most part,
so it's seeing. Sorry,
yeah.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chairs here.
Yeah,
and it's also.
No.
So this visual model, the Stable Diffusion that we're seeing here,
yes,
somehow it's being fed the actual data that there are 5 chairs there.
Yeah, so
I don't know if I'm asking.
No.
As exact as I can.
So you get this basically. I can like change the shot of this to like I can rotate the camera.
Yeah.
And we're also there's the whole thing is like improve your camera controls. But so now that I put it over here, let's run it again.
Right.
You're asking like more on the back end, like how it's working.
Do you want to like technically how it's working, or what is it doing? Yeah.
I guess a little bit of both because
Sure.
I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah.
Like it's not just image to image.
No.
There's more going on here than just like with Midjourney, I'm uploading an image and I'm using that image as a reference, and then it's going to hallucinate against that image, and I lose a lot of fidelity.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's getting actual data on what are the objects in the scene, and then it's hallucinating on top of that.
Yeah, and I'm
Because we are
borrowing the
losing
fact
stuff
that
here, right?
we are losing some stuff. I'm gonna switch it back to it's on Flux right now. I'm gonna go to
So SD has a higher.
I just literally need
recognition.
to update the workflow
So
because
you're bringing the,
yeah.
you're bringing the photo, which is Flux.
We're bringing a series of photos, so not just like the photo itself, but the actual like passes. If you're familiar, so like you need to have a candy pass or like a depth pass. So I'm bringing those two in addition to a mask pass, and the actual image.
How are you
to
doing
get-
the deck?
So we're using actually like the local GPU. So because you can with any 3D scene, you can actually get that data from the camera because it's a 3D camera. So we're actually pulling the passes from the camera shader and then pulling it back, as opposed to estimating with like.
But
you know-
is it pulling it out of the original photograph?
No, it's actually from the 3D camera here. So we actually have a series of shaders.
Oh, so you have to set this up in order, I got you.
Yeah. And this, yes, let's see. So this,
Can you take any
That's a little
frame
higher,
then
right? Yeah.
and basically create 3D from it?
well, there's that too. So this is like a very like just first release, just because I wanted to get the editor going and to get like, okay, like I don't have to export these images, bring them over to my other computer, feed them in, like it's doing it all as one consistent loop. So next, some requests we got were real-time, collaborative, but also obviously going back to 3D. So now taking these back and baking it back onto the textures, generating, a mesh from this. I'll show you some of the other.
So you could do a
yeah.
previs
Yeah.
from still photographs stitched together, and it'll just do each frame, and then you can set that image.
Well, so because this
characters in each other.
This would be like, say you have like if you're like a mannequin in, or like something from Mixamo, you can place it in the scene, and I can just like shoot around that person. And I can say like, I want this to be a guy with brown hair. I want this to be a girl with blue hair, and I can control the shot exactly using this camera, as opposed to having to tell. It's a top-down shot. We also launched a Blender plugin with this because, which is a little later, not exactly in time with the competition, but because like people who work in Blender are very familiar with that as that was my background, like the way of telling a story, using that as your it's really easy to like pilot a camera.
So the
that
camera
software.
really is, the camera moving is what is setting up the shot.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna move it over here again.
So I got you.
Yeah.
Can you frame? Can you frame?
Sorry, what was it? The other software or this?
That's not.
So Blender's the software. This is Playbook.
Blender is just like traditional 3D.
Yeah. So if I can change that FOV, go like really tight. And I can also, I think I've made this is gonna be the bar. Let's see. So I can also add kind of per object prompts. I don't have a demo of this too, but so this is actually like pulling it directly into another company workflow. So masking, it's going to do automatic masking based on this object. I want to add a mask for the plants. I want the plants to be, let's see how this works. Let's go pink ferns. Let's see if sometimes the scene prompt overrides what I'm going to do here. So maybe it's going to be unreadable.
I'm one.
But one way of showing this, but yeah, so that's the value of being able to work in 3D is like, I know that these are separate objects that I can select, mask, move even. If I want to move this up and down, okay, I really like this is down here, I want to move it up.
I have a question.
Does that make sense? Yes.
How do you hit that sweet spot of
Yeah.
like having too much detail in the 3D model versus like not enough?
Yeah.
Like, do you need to add walls here if you wanted to add walls?
It's really interesting too. And I was like, so this depending on the model too. Both of these like it's like so this is Stable Diffusion. It's adding walls. I guess I did mask the firm, but I cropped it out of the shot when I zoomed in on it. So, but like, yeah, this is adding walls in the back. I think it also depends on the control net, like the structure strength that I had going here. So like this is like 61. If I dial it back up, I can go back. Again, there's very much a beta, but this is a very complex scene. It's actually provided by it was Global Objects. Yeah. So this is, I think, a scan of a real space, like a reconstruction of real space.
Like they do like photo scans of film sets
Yes.
for like post production.
Yeah.
that type of set.
And that was a really interesting part of it because like there was a consistent set used in all of the films that were created because they shot the set, they brought into the object, and now we have it in the editor. To answer your question, this is pretty complex. It was nicer when I have like my template scene is like very simple, like with a car, because I can really easily go in and just be like, okay, yeah, I know this is background, car, plane, and I can assign, graph to the plane. Let's go like this. I'll do this. I'll add a mask for the car.
But you're running this like fashion contest now, right?
Yes, we are.
So are most of the people just like using a mannequin in 3D and then doing the fashion on top of it, or are they doing like a 3D render of clothing and then picturizing that?
We've seen. I've yet to see like everyone's things that they're working on, but Disney, like you can just like have a mannequin, like a Mixmo model, and you can just like tell it to have a dress. Flux does better with humans because Stable Diffusion can like the faces kind of get a little bit weird, and like hands too can get weird.
Yeah.
So I think we're recommending that people use Flux. But the prompts can go a long way. Like let's see. Wow, that did not get the varying. It did not know what to do with the car here. What is going on here, guys? I don't know what's going on there. It's really,
problem.
Is this Flux?
That is Stable Diffusion. God, it usually does that a little bit better than that. Let's see. I'll just run it again. This one, see, I like this one though. But like, yeah, I guess like it's like without any detail. The lot, so we can jump pretty far. I'll show a couple of other things people have made. We're just going all over this.
How are people getting the 3D models if if they're not gifted to you by some company? How are people? What's the workflow of getting the 3D stuff into here? Like if like for example, on an indie film, if I know I'm with the production designer and we're in the space, we know we're going to shoot. Is there something we could do to bring that in?
Yeah, I mean, you can use Luma or a couple other services. So like you can like scan a space and you can bring that in. That'll work pretty well. You probably don't. You don't want to. That's probably the best.
You can't like build walls in here like you would in Revit or something.
You could. That's kind of why we went also leaning towards the plugins because we know that like building out an entire 3D editor would be like less advantageous. Like people are going to use their Pro Tools.
Yeah.
So hence, the Blender plugin, working on the Houdini plugin. So if you want to do that would be a couple of ways to do that.
Are there simple objects that you could query to bring in, like a library?
Yeah, that was also definitely requested. We have our cube and our plane, but people definitely wanted a lot more. We're also going to bring like open pose because like this is very directly applicable. Having just like you have it right there, you can work with it.
What's open pose?
Open pose. So they made it into a rig, but it's also just like a model. It's like kind of like a control net. Like a humanoid figure, and so if you move, the pose, you can make sure that it's going to have that, consistent posing. But yeah, so that was we got a lot of feedback based on this. It was a lot of this is great. We like it for posing, but we need more support for creation of the assets. Like it's a really high barrier to work in 3D. We also want more. So it was like request for more modalities. Yes.
I was going to ask, what are the basic object import files? Like, what are?
Great question.
File format.
Correct.
Yeah. This is what we have right now. Yeah,
FBX. I can't read it.
Sorry, FBX, GLB, GLTF, and GLB. Obviously, same thing. They work the best. And we also have volumetric capture too. I don't have an MPD file on me right now.
FBX is going to be the main three-dimensional. I can't really read them all.
You say.
Yeah, exactly. That actually, God, I'm sorry. I don't have any of my things up right now. Okay, wait.
I just noticed you have some like outtake images from our show.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
It's actually never
No, because it was so good. It was so good. I'm sorry. I didn't know who was. Sorry, I know. Sorry, they were so good. We didn't know who was whose. That was the thing. But yeah, we had to like show because like we barely got this ready for the competition, so it was just like seeing what people made. I was like, oh my god, it's so great.
I did like that bottom shot.
I bet you did. I was like, that's what we were asking. We were trying to ask like who did what, so we could like give credit. Credit where credit's due. We did not make. We were literally pulling from our back end. We were like, oh, this looks so great. Sorry.
Are you gonna add meshing?
Yeah,
And like,
exactly.
I forget there's other things like that. But
No, that was actually.
put a picture.
Tripo? Yeah.
So like I'm uploading a picture,
Uh-huh.
or I'm describing an object, and then creating 3D object, and then I can now
Exactly. Well, that was what was really interesting because like the meshes that are output of like image to 3D are usually like pretty low fidelity, have some artifacts. They're getting better obviously, but because you're rendering on top of that, it fixes all the deformities or like it compensates for that. So that was really good. Yeah.
2 questions.
Yeah.
First one, coming back to the diner scene.
Yes.
Is there an option for us maybe to lock when we have an asset that we need texture to lock it? So we can keep essentially building, all the textures that we have off the different meshes.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah. So this is I don't. Sorry, I'm like all over the place. I don't know if I had the original.
It's okay. We're
The
all
original. Yeah, everything's a mess. Everything's an absolute disaster. You can see this is like the original.
Yeah.
This was a
chaos.
This was a volumetric capture, and like I was able to preserve him. I got to fix like this little artifact and like preserve him entirely while making sure that the background can be retextured because that was like people were really wanting that. So we finally got that working.
Yeah, that was my next question. Is that
Yeah.
you have a picture of a diner? You finally created a nice SD
Right.
of the diner. How are you gonna place a human or like a character?
Right, and this is the different character, but like this is what this kind of looked like before. Like the volumetric capture is in a completely gray box scene, and I was able to actually retexture everything. But like the human had to stay the same, and like the face can't change because that would really defeat the whole purpose. So we finally got that working. Yeah. So we did this competition. This is obviously so many gorgeous shots that people created, but it was a good like destruction of like we had to fix everything over and over because it was just a disaster. But people made really gorgeous stuff. So kind of on the heels of that, now so we launched video. Let's get to that. This is interesting as like a turntable. This is an anime diff workflow that I had going. It's not flawless, but I was just happy that it, like the hallucinations are minimal. Detail is, quality is like okay. And that gives me hope for like workflows that are not just the image and text to video, but is more like a true typical animation workflow. This was just another.
Do you have so
much more control.
Going back to the what you import in and JPEG and PNG.
Yeah.
So if you take one of those in, then can it create a 3-dimensional of the thing, and then you can move your camera around it?
Like an image and go image to that.
Correct. So in other words, you build out a 3D thing. Now I can get behind it. So kind of getting to what Brian was trying to do with rotating around himself.
No, exactly. Like that is totally possible if you just add like a little bridge of like the image to 3D, which there's a couple different ways to do that. Like Tripo. Definitely that's something like we really want to tap into like what is unique about having an editor built on top of all this. So on.
Can you script that into automatic?
Yeah. So basically, we got the feedback that we kind of got was we want to use our own workflows. Like others, like people have so many different ideas, and like locking them into the workflows that I had made and like predefined the backend was just kind of not going to work in the long term. Also, people want to use their own LoRa's. You don't want to use like I have Flux 1 in here. Maybe you want 1.1, and so we want to give more freedom back to people. So now, kind of zooming out in this next iteration of Playbook, will kind of be like these one-click, tools on top of Comfy UI. So if you want to use a 3JS canvas, but with any Comfy workflow, and you want to do it so that's an image to 3D, so inputs and outputs, we made custom Comfy nodes that allow you to go in and out of that editor, and we provide the architecture. So you can do any of the things you guys are suggesting, and kind of leave it up to you guys to kind of be creative there. Or use a different kind of canvas. Yeah.
I don't know how I'm gonna get these ideas out of my brain.
That's fine.
But like so right now in Luma and in Expensive Runway, allegedly I can do image to image to get that flow. Let's say like I have a picture of Kenny running, and then I have a picture of Kenny sitting, and then I'm getting that whole sequence, right? In the scenario, let's say where I have a picture of Kenny in the diner, and I have the cameras here, and then I have Kenny at the bar in the diner, with the camera over here, and I have physically moved the camera from here to here.
Yeah,
Is that going to be possible for you guys to render the video, let's say a 5-second video that goes in the same way, the fidelity that you just described earlier, nothing about the images, because with Blender to Korea right now, I'm just getting like an image to image situation, but am I getting that fidelity of that movement that I can, manually have?
What I wanted to have too, because that's like where I think that's a really exciting work. That's what that actually is. Like this is a turn. I'm just turning the car. This is actually from the 3JS editor, and it's a super basic animation, but this is taking like every second frame, and then just doing like it is doing an animate diff. It's not like
so it's not. This is not a prompt.
No. This is a PNG sequence. And I wish I had the original one, but this is like we did I have this in here? Yeah.
So in theory, you would do that boom, boom, boom. From Kenny sitting to Kenny at the bar, I would do
So I'm gonna like this.
100 images.
This is gonna go through, and I can capture this, and then I'm gonna tap to video. We need to like reconfiguring all this because like, what if you don't want to use my exact animate diff workflow? But I think the potential is really exciting. Because we are able to kind of capture every one of this. Let's just see.
So it's rendering an image per each.
Yep.
Per each like millisecond in this.
Yeah, just like traditional animation.
But then how are you preventing hallucination across each image?
Animate diff, like the function of animate diff is to like kind of like blend, and it's not perfect, but like animate diff creates that consistency across. And then you do a video combine or like a rife and then like a video combine on the end.
So that would beat the current video models in theory.
In theory, yeah. It does like I think the quality needs to get better because like animate diff for some reason like lowers the quality is what I was finding.
It's what low res for.
It's because you can see here, like I don't know, it's there, and this is like, this is just like a bunch of different LoRa's.
Yeah, but we have Topaz for this.
Yeah. So then maybe that's right. Maybe you take it in an upscale, right? So. I've been kind of like fighting with this workflow for a bit. I do think it's really cool because like the motion is really preserved.
It is amazing.
Yeah, so it's like
you guys would do that today on the program, or that's right?
Well, yeah, and it takes a moment. So let's go white Porsche in a grass field. It's gonna take us a long time. It takes like 2 minutes, and it is. It is. I know.
You created that motion, right? You created that camera motion.
I guess like focusing.
Right, that's keyframed in the timeline.
Yeah, that's keyframed.
Oh, I see. The camera's actually not moving. You're moving the car.
I could move the camera if I wanted to.
Keyframe the camera movement.
Yeah,
right.
Zoom in.
Dude, I want this bad. Skylar.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Come try. Yeah.
Are you single?
Yeah. See, it's like it's so clutched together. We're gonna see what it comes back with. I think in this plus Blender, because like the controls here are pretty hard to use because this is just a 3JS editor. But yeah, combined with Pro Tools, so we're definitely heavily investing in the 3JS canvas. Also, like 2D has its merits too. Like a TL draw canvas is something that people have also voiced wanting, and like so like I think it's like really like focusing on that like fast feedback loop between these canvases, and allows for more dynamic inputs outputs.
Could you show us the video in Blender?
Yeah. Let's see.
So real quick, how large? Like you have like a small square with the car on it. How large can that environment be? Like, could you make a mountain range?
Oh yeah. I think the clipping. Let's see. Yeah, the clipping is okay. It shouldn't exhaust you. You can just like bring whatever you want here. It's just like you gotta move it into the canvas, which is where it's like, all right, if you're familiar with Blender, I would personally want to use Blender here, just to
create your environment.
It's just make 3D controls just takes a lot of time to make it like feel good, as you pointed out. Let's see.
I'm kind of limited with it being a web app, right? Is you can't map a bunch of keyboard shortcuts.
Yeah. Right. And then like if you're in here, you can like I can repurpose this as I want to. This is our Blender plugin. So kind of the same, the same UI that you have in the web editor is the same roughly. So we have like this is over here. This is our Blender plugin. And I can just go to edit preferences, and I can enter my API key and use it all here. Let's get that. Yeah, credits unlimited. Okay, cool.
Just copy that API.
Yeah. Right. Just get all those API keys in here. Exactly. This is my cube. Hopefully this works. And I'll really trying to iron out all the issues here. We'll go Unreal render. Okay.
What I really need is some prompts to Blender tool.
Meshy.
Meshy just creates an object.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just your.
Or you just go to the
something
Unreal
like
Engine
this.
store.
But it's on playbook.
Yeah. So if you want to copy your API key.
Unreal?
Yeah. It's our API. That's like what we're primarily doing is the API is like the same API is powering the web vendors, powering the plugins.
Exactly. Someone built me the.
See if this comes back. This is gonna. It's running too. Yeah. So it's
Unreal.
It's
booting.
Yeah.
That should just be trained on a machine learning model.
It's good. It's growing. So work in progress. Yeah, would love feedback. Would love thoughts. We are definitely now kind of zooming out and building a larger platform, so you can just kind of like start up your own canvases. I think I have some. I've been working on the new specs.
How to use it.
Sure. Yeah. We're like with every competition we have to like update our tutorials, but try to post more learning resources. We'll do Discord events every couple weeks to like show how to use new features. Come back to.
Anything on like YouTube?
I think we have it mainly on our. There's our cube in a grass field.
Wow.
Yeah. So you see so if I want to do that, I can do it with Flux. I can change it with Flux. I can.
Oh wow! Wow.
And let's get.
That was fast too.
My God, it was just a really.
Could you theoretically like program a virtual camera in Blender to do a specific motion? Like maybe add more movement. Or speed.
You can. I mean, so you can either just like animate, like traditionally, or I know you can like bring in. There's definitely programs with like your iPhone. You can bring in the actual iPhone gyro motion into Blender. I've seen that done.
But
that was
work
really
with
cool.
Playbook.
Yeah,
because you need to do keyframes to get the video right.
Well, actually, as long as it's like running in this timeline in Blender, so in that case, I would not go to the web editor. I'd go to Blender because they handle that import. But as long as it's running and we can like capture the motion of this Blender camera here, can't zoom out with this. It will get it. Like it's just wherever the camera's moving. So there's a couple like really cool iPhone apps that you can like just move it around and it will just like get I think Luma does something with that too.
Would you do like an Unreal Engine plugin?
Yeah, I mean we're just kind of like just taking people's suggestions. Unity and Unreal were definitely kind of hotly requested.
Because there are so many assets in the marketplace, you can just drag and drop.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Sure, great. Yeah. This is sort of Flux. You can tell it's Flux. It has that depth of field that we all know from Flux. There's our Flux. It's more impressive when it's not a cube. But you know how that is. So yeah, I think it's really fun to wonder.
Why are you at parentheses?
It increases the strength of it like weights it.
You can do this is a Flux hack or is this a?
Just a comfy UI.
Can you do lighting in Blender and then render based on the Blender lighting?
Great question. Yeah, not right now, but I think we need to make sure that.
Yeah, because I want to do the lighting in Blender and I want to make sure the air render is based on my lighting.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we need to. So in fixing like the preservation of textures, which is not in this version of the plugin, it will kind of keep the lighting, but you're trying to figure out the best way to do that because like the generated and the rendered. So, but yes, that's in the works. Trying to think what else. Yeah. If you guys want to,
you can do so much relighting.
Just like draw the lighting lines. That'd be cool in the standard editor. What was I gonna say? Yeah. So like this is very like REST API like I'm hitting the button, it's going because it's really long workflow. But when you have like shorter workflows, like the real time, that's what we're kind of doing next. You can like have a choice of architecture. Do you want it to be like every change to the canvas, like a Crea kind of thing? Like, what if you want your Crea, but Crea is gonna run with your own workflow? So that would make more sense with like a Unity and Unreal kind of situation. But yeah, we just want feedback as we're building and we're kind of pushing out updates. I linked our Discord somehow. If you want to, if you want to get in contact and stuff.
Do you guys also create a program?
Yes. Come get some free credits and come and come use it. Yes, you definitely will. If you come in,
get hooked.
Exactly. So if you want to come into Discord, just be like, hey, we met. We will definitely give you free credits because it is a very beta product, and we want your feedback. Yeah, definitely come in, but hoping that the next version will be out in the next like couple weeks, so it'll look very different. As is that we're just kind of like patching things. Yeah, other questions, thoughts?
I always say this, like I loved how responsive you guys are, like especially like
Appreciate that.
during the Culver Cup, and I emailed you at like 11 p.m. on Thursday.
I saw that email. I felt so bad for you because I've been there before.
It's like I need more credits.
No, I've been there before. I was like, oh, she's just going for it right now. Of course, yeah, no.
But it worked out.
Yeah, no, we will definitely give you guys credits. And appreciate the patience.
I remember that moment.
Okay, so
So
actually, I
sweet.
have a question about that because you texted me. We were texting, and you said you were struggling with it and you have a breakthrough. So
Don't say
what was the
that.
struggle? No, but what was the struggle? What was the breakthrough? I'm
Yeah,
very
please.
curious.
The struggle was like prompting, knowing how to prompt.
You mean the text prompting?
Yeah, it's just like I think like if you're just doing basic prompt, it seems like it really wants to lean into having a 3D rendered look, and might be because it's working off of a 3D render.
It's so true though.
Yeah, but it wants to look like it's 3D animation.
Yeah.
But I want to do something like more live action cinematic. So then I did exactly what Brian was saying at the beginning, which was like take an image and then just describe it. Like describe all the features of this image, and I asked it to describe it as a flux prompt, and then I just like broke up that prompt.
I mean the ChatGPT.
Yeah, or Claude. I use Claude. Yeah. And then I broke up that prompt into different components, and then I realized like, okay, I needed to prompt it like describing the foreground, midground, and background. I needed to describe like what I wanted in focus, what I wanted out of focus, what type of lens I was using, what type of camera. Sometimes I just like throw out random names of cameras just to see if it makes something that like looks a little more lifelike. So I think I did like Reflex to get it to be more cinematic looking. Yeah, I was just like trying a bunch of things, and then once I got a prompt that like worked, I just kept copy pasting it so that it would look like the same location.
Yeah.
Now, how is that different from how you prompt Midjourney? Because what you described kind of describes how I prompt Midjourney.
It's not really that different. I mean, I think
crazy stuff.
Yes, it's not really that different at all. But with having the camera is really helpful because you don't need to describe like, oh, this is a top-down shot or this is like a 30-degree angle, like wide shot, whatever. So it's really just like, well, I started just like thinking about it differently, like looking at the image itself and then like describing it in pieces. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like trying to describe what I wanted, but in those like segments.
You mean in one paragraph? Right. This is foreground, this is background, this is character.
Yeah.
All in one in the text prompt.
Yeah, and I also did like really random things like moving the set, like taking out certain parts of the set that were just adding noise I didn't need.
Yeah.
And at one point I tried pulling in like a 2D image into the scene to see if that would like give me something.
Yeah.
And sometimes that helped. Like I just had a 2D image of my character to put in.
That you manually placed?
Yeah, like you
With,
can import.
Photoshop?
You can import a
with the-
JPEG.
Like
Because you can like move the person, not person, but like put them into the diner seating.
Right.
It's weird because you can sometimes tell it to put people in the chair, but then you can't get that person again, maybe, because it will
You're describing this like it's not your tool.
I know. No, I know. There's like, I know what it is. It feels like it's like,
They're little monsters. They're little monsters.
It is. It is. No, it's so true. I'm like, God, why is it doing that? You know, and then Comfy UI updates, and that's kind of like also what we're trying to provide. There's like that managed installation and like actually you don't have to like worry about that changing as you're trying to work with your project, because there's so many moving parts here, and there's so many parts where this can kind of go off the rails, and you want consistency. So how many like variables can you lock down?
I thought that Eat the Soup video that was done, like the long shots of that were like really like, crap, this is like showing spatial consistency.
Yeah.
Which is what this obviously this tool is for. And I was really impressed with
it's very cool
that level of spatial consistency that they were able to achieve.
Yeah, it's very, very, very cool. Like either like I think there's just different merits. Like either like the super like animate diff, like you want to be really tied to the motion, or you want to go the image to video. Just like you take this and you go feed it into Runway. Super interesting.
So you guys go to events and maybe do some demos or something, show your products?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Because we have a AI film festival coming up.
Cool.
It's sponsored by Minimax actually, and they're gonna come from China and to our festival and actually talk about the product. So I thought maybe it'd be cool.
Would love
if you
to.
guys can come.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Then
Yeah.
people, all the filmmakers, they could get all the benefit.
Would love to. Yeah. We now it's like just battle testing, so you can keep finding where the holes are and like put it in the hole. Yeah, would love to. Yeah, we're right now doing the fashion. I don't know if it's just like film or image or video competition right now, and then we'll probably I think we won't have anything after that, but would love to. Yeah. Anything else?
November 23rd and 24th. A week before.
Where do you
Thanksgiving.
want this to be? You know, like in the ecosystem and tool set.
This is kind of speaking to it. This is like kind of what we're building right now. I literally have my Figma specs up over here too. I wanted, like a CodaPen is, like a JS fiddle. As like a developer analogy, okay, kind of like a Vercel like environment where like I can use whatever like canvas I want with my workflows, and I can use that to like speed up my making like film and video, but like also like I think there's a huge potential for Comfy UI with 3D that people aren't really tapping into because it's really tedious, and getting back into 3D is super hard because it's stuck in Comfy now. So this where you can create and share, like I can start from a render with 3D starting place, or I can start from a render with 2D, and I can kind of like just kind of go be free from there. That's really exciting. So just kind of like make this make it more hackable, make it more extensible. And then now we also got people having interest to like license this as like an embeddable thing. So we're working with they're doing kind of like an Upwork for Gen AI situation there, and they want to have Comfy UI with a canvas, like a 3D canvas in their tool, and they don't want to build that themselves. So now like having that as like all right, plug and play, that's exciting. So I was thinking it's cool, like Comfy UI powering a video game. I think people have thought of that before, but that's a direct plugin. Yeah.
We're trying to do a Gen Battle in
Yeah.
January.
Right.
Cool. To do a game. Like,
Yeah.
Everybody create a game in like 2 hours.
That's awesome, right? Because like again, game jams become that much easier, right?
There's like an app called Jabali that allows you to do it very rapidly. But
yeah,
I'm trying to figure out how to with just existing tools. But you can do it with cloud. You do it with cloud and others. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think yes.
Oh, yeah, along the lines of what you were talking about, of like, having your thing be a component of somebody else's thing. This is a thing I've been thinking about, and I'm going to open it up to the room to see if anybody knows. Like, does everybody know what VST plugins are for audio?
Yeah.
So
No.
like it's basically
No.
VST plugins are plugins that work in a bunch of different, like you get the VST plugin and it'll work, and it might work in Avid, it works in Resolve, it'll work in Pro Tools, it works in all these different places. Does a architecture like that for video plugins exist?
Yeah.
Does it? Like, what is it? I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, because it's like, you know, is there something like a cool thing where like you could get, you know, Playbook running in that, and then you can then you can just open a node in Resolve, or you could open it in whatever your compositing program is or something.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk
I
about
love
it. Okay.
interoperability.
Okay.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's where it's at, right?
Yes,
Where
but
one
nobody
thing
wants to do
powers
it. It's
all
no
of them, and you
business
can kind of like
Oh,
the building
but
blocks.
I guess
Yeah.
my point is like all the audio programs, they've got their own plugin architecture, but then there's so many VST things out there that are written by so many people.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to use the one that doesn't support VST
Yes.
because there's so many cool things. So
Yeah, that's
and then-
exactly right.
yeah.
I think that's the huge problem across all of this, that you don't like. No one wants to deal with infrastructure. You don't want to build, but you kind of have to if you want to use your same things.
Mhm.
And we all use all the tools that I have on my desktop. Agreed.
That's VST4 has video plugins also.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
No,
So, yeah.
I love
Any like
having these
3D and comfy has been my interest, but I know other people. There's like I think there's a lot of intersecting thoughts here. So yeah, thank you guys. This is great. Thanks, guys.
Question.